Hi, I'm Jean Schumacher. I'm founder of Simply Plant-Based. I have a lot of programs to help you change your health destiny, including the Weight Loss Advantage, to help you to lose weight without dieting. And coming soon is the Pregnancy Advantage. With Dr. Deborah Shapiro, we're going to help women to get their bodies pregnant ready, or if you're having trouble conceiving, we're going to be there to help you. And today, I have the pleasure and privilege of connecting with LaRay Seier, who is an RN. And she and her family have had an amazing plant-based journey. They've healed so many health issues, from diabetes to heart disease to GERD, thyroid problems, acne, just to name a few. And if you're interested in learning more about their journey, I'm going to post that link below this video on YouTube. But now their immune system has been put to the test, literally. They were tested positive, the whole family, for COVID-19. They all got it, and thankfully, everybody's on the mend. So thank you, LaRay, for taking the time to be here with me today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It's definitely been an interesting journey.
Yeah, that I could for sure. So, I mean, first, you look amazing, in spite of what you've been through. So walk us through your journey from when it started to, when you started to feel ill to today and everything.
Okay. Well, the first person that actually started exhibiting symptoms was, we think, my husband. They told him he had a sinus infection and checked him for the flu. He didn't have the typical dry cough. He wasn't running a fever at that time. He was just really just congested, and they said, well, you just have a sinus infection. So they gave him a Z-Pack and sent him on his way.
Okay.
Right. And I think that was at the beginning of the week of March, I think it was around the 15th. And then my dad came to me that Friday and said, hey, I'm not feeling good. Checked his temperature, and his temperature was 101.3. And he had a dry cough and he had a headache. And I said, okay. So I called my supervisor and said, okay, I've got to take off work. Something's going on with my dad. So I took him to the Coffee County Health Department, and they did the test, which is horrible. And they take a long...
Did it feel like this long?
Yeah, it probably felt like it was about 2 feet long, but they stick this long... His was different from mine. His was like a little pipe cleaner with a little brush thing on the end. Mine was a huge Q-tip. So his, of course, they make you lean your head back, and they go all the way back into
brain,
the nasopharyngeal, which feels like, yes, they're touching the back of your brain, both sides. And then they sent the test off, and it took his test Tuesday. When I started coming down with my symptoms is when he received a call, and they told him he was positive. Well, I drove him to get tested, and he was coughing, and masks were, you couldn't get one. So we didn't have any. We do now, but we didn't have any then. But when I started coming down with a fever, actually he got a call Wednesday. I apologize. It was Wednesday. I came down with a fever, and it was 99. Mine stayed pretty much for the most part between 99 and 100, except for one day, and that was the first day. It went up to 101.8. I was in the bed because I just my head felt like it was going to explode. It was the worst headache I have ever had in my life. It was not a typical headache. It felt like it was just a crushing headache. My blood pressure was elevated. My heart rate was elevated. I had a bout of nausea. And so I went to the bathroom, and I thought, oh my gosh, this is it. So I wound up sitting on the floor in the bathroom. And then I woke up laying on the floor in the bathroom. So I'm not sure I don't know if I passed out or just kind of laid down, because I was just kind of out of it. That episode, that day was probably by far the worst. Then I started having back pain, of course, the dry cough, the fever stayed for days. I probably had a fever for a good, probably week. I lost my sense of smell and my taste, and that was absolutely horrible. You take that for granted. Let me tell you, I appreciate smelling stuff now, no matter what it is. I mean, it's weird. You can't taste anything. You can't smell anything. Never had that happen before with any respiratory infection ever. So that was a new one. Lymph nodes, neck, armpits were very, very sore and swollen. Back pain was really weird because it was from my neck all the way down to my sacrum, and right side back pain, like where your right kidney is. And that was pretty much it for me. I did have some shortness of breath, but nothing that I felt, I got to go to the ER. I mean, it was manageable, but the cough is still lingering. The dry cough is still with me. I've got most of my smell and taste back, but there's still some, yes, it's not 100%, but it's at least I can, smell things. Just tired, fatigue, weakness. I get out of breath really quick. And that was, like I said, that was on the 25th of March. So from the 25th of March until now, but I've been fever free since the 1st of April. So they told us that, as long as you're fever free and symptom free for 72 hours, then you can basically come off the isolation, which is really odd to me because they tell the people that did not test, that just have symptoms, 14 days. So, but I think it's just because it's new. I mean, nobody knows really, how to deal with this virus just yet because there's so much unknown. The kids got it, but theirs were a lot milder than mine. Rob got it, and then bless his heart, he got better, and then he relapsed and his fever started back. And he's been fever free for just 3 days now. So his actually came back about 5 days after it went away. And that happens too to some people. Apparently some people have a relapse in 9 to 11 days from when it started, and then it comes right back. So it's really bizarre. The one thing that we all have, the 4 of us, meaning my husband, me, and our 2 kids, he's A positive. I can't remember if I'm A positive or negative, but the kids are also, blood type is A. Mom is O positive, and she never got a symptom, not one, and has been in the same house, in the same kitchen, in the same bathroom.
Really?
Yep.
Wow.
And we have checked her temperature religiously, and she has never run a fever, never had a symptom, never had a dry cough. He has a cabin next door, so when he got it, he pretty much stayed at his house.
His blood type.
Oh, his blood type, he is A. He's A, I want to say positive. I'm not 100%, but I think he's A positive. But my mom is the only one that's O, which I thought was interesting. And I actually have read some things that says some of the blood types are more susceptible to the virus than others. From what I understand, O positive or O type blood is more immune to it. So they don't really exhibit symptoms. I don't know if that's, fact, but it's definitely fact here because not one symptom whatsoever.
Because I had not heard that. So that's very interesting.
I thought that was really interesting too.
And she's been in the household and experiencing the whole time, The whole time.
Obviously
you were trying not to cough on her.
We have, right. We have double sinks in the front bathroom. So it was using a designated sink and, designated soap and everything on her side. And then everybody else was using the other one. And we have a camper too. So my husband stayed out in the camper when he was feeling bad because, his came back. So we were like, okay, so is this going to be one of those passing back and forth kind of things? Yeah. So he's been staying out there. And then, of course, I took peroxide and put everybody's toothbrush in an individual cup, and we've been soaking toothbrushes. trying everything we can
Yeah.
to disinfect everything and keep everything clean and, just do what we can do to make sure we're not spreading it around. So
Why do you think you saw such varying effects within your family?
I don't know. Eric had
That's your
a
son.
Eric is our son. He's 11, and he had back in December, right before Christmas, an unidentified virus of some sort. It was not the flu. Because we took him to the doctor and they checked it. He had an extremely high fever. He had a headache. He had a cough. It turned into respiratory productive cough, and he wound up it turned into like a upper respiratory infection, so we had to take him back in. But his lasted he was out for a complete week from school right before the Christmas holidays. So he actually was out 3 weeks for the Christmas holiday because he didn't go to school for the first week beforehand. And I'm not so sure. It possibly, makes me wonder, is that not what he had then? I don't know. Because this second go around, whatever he had the first time, the second time, he had lighter symptoms, and his only lasted a couple of days, and he was fine. Leah, she only had a headache. She did not have a fever at all. She had sore throat, which I did have like a sore throat just for a couple of days, but she had a sore throat, and I want to say she had a little bit of a dry cough, but it wasn't, a long-term thing for her. And that's all she had. So, they, and I'm glad the kids had the lightest of the symptoms because, some kids, they've had a lot of young people going in the hospital.
Right. No, for
So,
sure.
it's very scary.
Well, do you think being plant-based helped you through this illness?
I do. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And then, of course, we've been loading up on vitamin D3, B12, zinc, vitamin C, elderberry, which I know some people are, have a question about that, but it helps with other viruses. So I thought, hey, it helps the immune system. So I'm going to do anything I can to boost the immune system. We did smoothies when we didn't really feel like eating anything. So we have blueberries, strawberries, cherries, I'm trying to think, pineapple. We've got all kinds of frozen fruit in the freezer to just kind of blend up and, have a smoothie. Spinach, we have to sneak that in because some people don't. If they know that it's in there, they won't drink it.
Isn't that crazy?
I know. You have to kind of sneak things in every once in a while. So.
Right. Well, as you were going through, you did the vitamin D and,
Mm-hmm.
and was there anything else that you did? Did you help with hot showers? Did some of the steam
Yeah,
help?
I did hot showers just to kind of, just make me feel better. I really didn't have a lot of productive mucus or anything to break loose,
Mm-hmm.
which is really weird. It's the dry cough is just, it's like you take a breath and you feel like you got a cough. It's just a very sensitive cough, but there's nothing there. There's no,
Mm-hmm.
you just, there's no, I guess, there's no mucus or anything to produce. It's literally a dry cough.
Well, is there anything else you can suggest that people can do to help them to get through this?
Absolutely.
Oh,
I would say limit or no sugar, but limit the sugar because they say that the sugar actually increases your healing time. It stretches it out to where your body can't, I guess, rebound or come back from the virus. That you kind of you'll prolong the virus by eating sugary foods. Of course, your fast foods, your fatty foods, those types of things.
Well, did you have an appetite? Did you feel like eating?
Not really at all. I had to make myself eat some because, you start getting, at some point you get weak. But when I did eat, it was mostly just bland, starchy stuff. I mean, during that part of the virus, we did have the vitamins. So, I wasn't worried about that part. And then we did have some smoothies from time to time when we felt like having something like that. Water, lots and lots of water. That is a big recommendation. Just, drink. Soft drinks is a no-no. I mean, I would not recommend anything like that. Smoking, vaping, absolutely not. That's not going to help you anyway. But if those out there that do have that as a habit, I would not recommend it, because I don't know, and I don't think anybody really knows at this point how the effects of this virus is long-term on somebody's lungs. So you don't want to do anything that's going to, harm you in any way. No alcohol. That's another thing. Alcohol, I think, is another thing that they say is not a friend with the virus. And ibuprofen, which I'm not sure why that is, but they say ibuprofen makes it worse. I think they have done some research on that, where some of the patients that have been coming in that have been really bad, that they've wound up having to intubate and they've gone into ICU, they've found they've taken ibuprofen, and the ibuprofen feeds the virus and makes it worse. And that's where you get the pneumonia and the issue with the lungs. So wow. I heard that from the beginning. So I thought, okay, so I did buy Tylenol. I did not take it unless my fever went above 100. I tried to stay away from it. Now for Eric, he's a high fever runner. He always has been. I had to, at one point on the first round that he had in December, I had to put him in the shower, in a cold shower, because his went up to 104.3. And that was making me nervous. So I cooled him down with cold shower, things like that. But we did take Tylenol just as needed, as minimal as I could possibly get away with taking. I don't like taking a lot of medication, but we did. That is the one thing that we did do, was the Tylenol.
Any other suggestions or thoughts, on your experience?
If anybody, I would log it down, because, if you get the symptoms, it's best to write it down, because you're not going to remember when you started it. You're not going to remember day to day what happened. And that's what I did, is I did a journal. This is, how everybody's feeling. This is what's going on. No taste, no smell today. Just so we could kind of see how everybody did. And when, like I said, when we went and had our test, oh gosh, that was awful. I think I have PTSD from that test. It was horrible.
Well, you had to have it done twice, I think you told me.
Yeah. I had to have it done twice. I'm over here in the car and I'm wringing my hands and I'm like, oh, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. I don't know. And Rob's over there, just don't be a baby. It's going to be okay. And I'm like, yeah, but I don't want to do this. I really don't want to do this. So I know it's going to hurt. So we get there, and the National Guard is, at that point, has arrived to the health department and helping them out. When I took my dad, it was just the nurses that were there. Not just the nurses, but the nurse was there doing the test. And then the National Guard was there. And these guys were so young, bless their hearts. And I know he was nervous already. And their supervisor, he was an older gentleman. He was standing over just kind of watching what was happening. And so the guy comes over. He, of course, Q-tip on the end of it, it looks like it was as big as your pinky. So, they tell you to lean back, and it burned so bad. How you get water up your nose if you're in a swimming pool, how it burns? Yeah, well, that's about how it was times 10. So they put it up one side after they make you lean back, tell you don't move, and they put it in your nose, and it tickles your brain, and then they pull it out, and then they do the other side and pull it out. Well, the guy goes over to put it in the little packet. Well, he drops it. I really didn't realize that's what happened.
Oh,
but
no.
Rob was over, kind of looking over at him, and he was talking to him. They were talking Army talk and this kind of thing. And the guy comes over and he says, "Ma'am, I'm sorry, but I'm going to have to do your test again." And I said, "Oh my God." I said, "Of all people that you got to drop the test, you had to
Oh,
drop mine."
no.
The very person that was scared to death to take this test in the first place. So the second go around burned even worse. I had a nosebleed, pretty good nosebleed afterwards from them doing that. So that was good times.
Yeah.
And then that day we went in to have that done on the 30th of March. I started having pollen symptoms. So then I had the sneezing, watery eyes, runny nose. I was like, "Are you kidding me right now?" It was all the trees are blooming and everything's pollinating. And it's just so, I did take a few Mucinex pills just to kind of keep it from build, because I don't want to go to the hospital. I was trying to keep myself from going. But now the fever's gone. I think my fever 1st of April was, around the time that mine went away. Rob's went away around the 3rd. And then that Sunday, the next Sunday, his came back. And I thought, "Oh God, great. We're going to have to do this again." But luckily, all he had a fever. It went up to 100. 99 to 100 is where it stayed. And then he had the headache that I had, the bad headache. And of course, we're both still kind of coughing a little bit. But other than that, then his finally went away. So, but he's quarantined. He works at the hospital, so he cannot go back. They actually want him to go have 2 tests done. I don't know if I don't know how that's going to work, but
What do you mean,
he has
2
to have
tests?
2 negatives. They want him to test to see if I don't know. My concern about that is I don't know how long this virus stays in the body.
Yeah.
Meaning, if you go get tested, are you going to stay positive, but maybe not necessarily have the symptoms? Or, I mean, we don't know. We'll find out because.
Well, the antibodies, I mean,
right.
how long do they stay in the system, and can you detect them? I mean, these are all good, legitimate questions that we're kind of working our way through.
Right. Right. I have heard the vitamin C IV works. I don't know. It's, I know some doctors said they've tried it and they've had good luck with it. And then, of course, the vancomycin with the chloroquine. I know that that's something that in the hospital, there have been doctors trying that they say work. So, but as far as home remedies, we just vitamins, hydration, trying to eat the best you can. If you even have an appetite, that's why we did the smoothies, because it was easier to drink something it was to, try to cook something and it's hard to have an appetite or when you can't taste anything.
Right.
So.
Well, and that's one of the things I think is a defense of the human body is to make you not eat, because a huge amount of energy goes towards digestion. So instead of putting that amount of energy towards digestion, you're putting 100% towards defending your body. And I think that's one of the things, and I've heard a lot, like from the National Health Association, if you do get this, just pull the covers over your head. When you stick your head up, drink some liquids, water, and then go back down under and let the fever run.
Right. And I did. I took a lot of naps, a lot of rest. You really don't feel like doing anything anyway, but I did. We got up and moved around because we didn't want to stay in the bed too much, because you don't want to lay around and then have the issue with pneumonia, because if you lay down too much, you can increase your risk for pneumonia. So just coughing, deep breathe, move around. If you do take a nap, make sure you're getting up in between, at least every couple of hours, just to keep because you want to keep your lungs inflated. So, and that's what we tried to do. So,
well, and we both say whole food, plant-based, if you can change before this hits you, you can see changes in your body in as little as 10 days.
Right.
So, for anybody who's out there that's dealing with some major health issues,
Mm-hmm.
But we do have words of caution for people that are diabetic and people dealing with high blood pressure, because once you switch over to a plant-based diet, within 10 days, and even sometimes less than that, your needs for medication will drop. So
Yes.
if you're consuming too many, high blood pressure medications, or, to drop your blood sugars down, you won't need it as much. So you should be carefully monitoring that, and make sure, of course, you connect with your doctor, let them know
Absolutely.
that you're going to be doing this and changing your diet. Because, and part of the problem is most of the doctors don't understand how powerful diet really is. It is so much more powerful than we ever knew.
Mm-hmm.
And so getting those phytonutrients, those antioxidants into your body with good plant-based foods, your fruits, your vegetables, your berries, oh my gosh, I can't say enough about them. So, you really want to be preparing your body to the best possible way it can be. And that's
Right.
going whole food plant-based, changing it so that if you do get it, that your symptoms won't be as, hopefully not death,
Right.
because we're seeing a
Absolutely.
lot of people dying from this.
It's very scary. It's a
It
lot
is.
of young people.
Yeah. And so a lot of the people that are dying, and I'm sure there's exceptions to everything, but a lot of these people already have immune systems that are compromised from, say, diabetes, or you're
Right.
dealing with cancer or heart disease or something major like that. So to help your body be able to deal with this, whole food, plant-based.
Absolutely.
Well, LaRay, you're looking fabulous. So
Thank
you for sharing your story. It's amazing. I can't say enough about how excited I am to hear, not to hear that you got it, but that you
The journey of
yeah.
recovery.
Yeah, and that you did it okay, and that the whole
Yes.
family, from
Yes.
young to old, were dealing with this. And I find that interesting about your mom
Yeah.
and being O
Very
positive.
interesting.
So
Mhm.
I'm going to have an interview coming up with Dr. Neil Barnard where we'll be asking questions. So hopefully I'm going to be asking about that too. So thank you so much
Great.
for taking the time to
You're
share your
welcome.
journey with me.
Thank you so much.